Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you. I would like to express my gratitude towards the organizers. It's really a pleasure and honor to be here. What I will talk about today is seen from a sudden cardiac death, the burden seen from a national perspective. What we heard so elegant from Mary Shepard is mainly from a center, a tertiary, very specialized center, and the experience from there. What I try is to take a whole national perspective of things in a small country, which is almost a half size inhabitants wise as London. Okay. First, I think it's important to talk about how we define sudden cardiac death. In the epidemiology, we normally use the sudden and natural and unexpected death of unknown or cardiac cause. And then we subdivide into witnessed or unwitnessed cases. And then there is an important time limit which may differ among studies that you can read. We use this one when it's unwitnessed. It has to be 24 hours, and in witness cases, 1 hour. The problem with sudden cardiac death, as I've indicated, is that a lot of these cases are not autopsied. And I think that's really pushed the button of the burden is not truly understood across Europe, and less so in Denmark, but more so in the young. And those are the ones that I will tell you about how our experience has evolved. What we do when we say about the young, we say that we have infants, and this is by most, let's say below 1 year. Then we have children, and then it's 1 to 18 years. Some studies will include the 0 to 18 and some young, and then that depends. Now my age, I consider 50 being a good age for saying the young. Previously it was 35 initially in my studies. I'm going to show you some results on that. Now, we all know the burden of sudden cardiac death accounts for 50% of all cardiovascular heart disease death and 15 to 20% of all death. So this is a major problem, public health problem that we need to address. The vast majority, of course, is in the elderly, but as I will show you, it's also existing in the young. About 50% of sudden cardiac death arrest have no symptoms prior to death, or so is the thought. We know from this paper from more than 30 years ago that gender and age is important for the incidence of sudden cardiac death. Also, we know from Meyerberg that the majority of cases occurs in the general population, whereas the patients at risk are minority of the cases of sudden cardiac death. So we need to have a better way to understand who are at risk and also how to prevent these, and I'll get back to that. So what we did in Denmark to establish the burden of sudden cardiac death is to use our registries. So when you're born in Denmark, every single Dane gets a unique ID in the National Person Registry. This ID is used in all contexts in relation to health services. So if you have to go to the hospital, you need to show this number. Then we have a cause of death registry. So all causes of death will be in that, and all death certificates are stored electronically. This gave us the possibility to examine all death in an agnostic way. Here you see an example of a causa ignota, unknown cause of death. And what you see is that we have a rather large supplementary field. Here is written the circumstances and the mode of the death. What we did in this study, published this year, is to look at a 7-year period 2000 to 2006, we looked at 1 to 18 years old, and we took all death certificates. And then 2 doctors independently went through them. And the first thing we wanted to expect to verify was if it was sudden or unexpected death. And that we found in 114 cases out of the 1,500 death cases. So the rest was excluded. Then we went through those, and then we subdivided into those that are autopsied, which of course is key for the diagnosis, and those that are non-autopsied, and by epidemiologic criteria are also sudden cardiac death. And when we go through the autopsies, quite importantly, 30% of them are non-cardiac sudden death, and I'll go back to what causes they are. But that just emphasizes the point that Mary made. Autopsy is very important for many reasons, also for the family and for the prevention of the sudden cardiac death in the rest of the family. What we found is that 70% of the autopsy were sudden cardiac death. Here are the cases, and what we see here in the young, and I think this is quite universal from most studies, is the SADS cases, as we call them now, sudden arrhythmic death cases, is the majority. And here in this very young, we had myocarditis, ARVC, and we also have quite little HCM as seen in Britain. One thing that we did then was to go back and ask the GPs, the general practitioners, to send all their files, as well as going through the emergency files and previous in-hospital files. And what we found out that actually quite a few of them had symptoms. So it was 45% had antecedent symptoms. Most frequent symptoms were seizures, dyspnea, and syncopes. All things that could have led to an investigation, which may or may not, of course, could have started preventive measures. And in all, if we look at both prodromal and antecedents symptoms, it was 60%. So quite a large fraction of these young individuals, these infants, in fact have symptoms. And if we look at the incidence rates, which of course is one thing that interests the epidemiologist, or which tells us about the burden, how big this is, it's a 1.5 per 100,000, which is unexpected death. And sudden cardiac death is 1.1 per 100,000. And I think these are the numbers that are out there in the literature, at least for the children. Then we went to the 1 to 35 years old. Now we come into where we also have the sports, of course, which is part of this, but we also have other diseases coming into play. And again, what we did was to look at all the death certificates, and then we found 10% to be sudden and unexpected. Out of those, 7% had sudden cardiac death, and I think this is quite interesting that about 1/3 had explained out of autopsy, and 1/3 were sudden unexplained death, or SADS, as we call them. But then again, we had 156 with no autopsy, so most likely sudden cardiac death, but we are not sure. If you look at the age, what we see is the same as what have shown so many times, that it increases with age. This is a burden of the elderly, but it also increases among the young. What we see again also is that it's mainly men, 2/3. And for us that would like to know whether, a witness death, it is most likely preventable if there's bystander CPR. So that was the case in 45%. Out of hospital death were 89. And I think that's also something that is unique to our data, is that also we include in-hospital sudden cardiac death. Then I think death during sleep is quite frequent, 1/3. And death during any kind of physical activity is not so high. Because what we hear, and what I'm sure Sanjay also will talk about later, is the whole awareness of sports. But at least in our experience, this was not a major trigger for these deaths. Now the causes are still SADS, sudden arrhythmic death syndrome, but what you see on a second is already ischemic heart disease, and these, I remind you, are below 35, so this is already very early. And then we have myocarditis, aortic dissection, and much lower numbers, ARVC, DCM, ACM. So these are the highest possible incidence rates, that's 2.8. It's, if you only take the autopsy cases, it's 1.6. And if you only say we will only include those out of hospital, it's 2.8. So our incidence rate is the highest yet published. We have the Italians from the Veneto region that we know they have a very good prospective registry, and they have seen a flat line for many years. If you look at their studies, it's about 1 per 100,000. In the Netherlands, it's I found a study where it's 1.6, and here in the UK, it's 1.8. So quite similar, but somewhat higher in Denmark. And I do think that the way that we include all available resources give us the way to give a true picture of the burden of sudden cardiac death in the young. Now, as I said, becoming older, I'm also interested in the not so young anymore. And what you see here is that indeed it increases dramatically. So if you go here from 35 and above, still you have this almost exponential increase in sudden cardiac death. And the causes changes now. So being from 36 to 49, the majority of the death, as you saw, and here you see that coronary artery disease become the major player already at this rather young age, I would say. And secondly, we'll have sudden arrhythmic death syndrome. Now, do these patients have symptoms, as alluded to also by Mary? What we found in this paper by Reza Jabari, who's here in the audience, is that indeed they have, like almost 80% have symptoms prior to death that may, if investigated, could have prevented, that measures could have been taken to prevent their death. So I think it's very important to realize that although it's not so frequent, they quite frequent have warning symptoms. Now, why does it matter to know if a person who's sudden cardiac death, what the causes are? Well, we know from Elijah's early work that if you work out on the family, so you have the deceased and then you see the family, then you will, in more than half of the family, you will find this disease that can be treated. And also we know that one case of sudden cardiac death in the family from the Paris Prospect study increases your risk by 1.8, but if you have two, so then you'll find that it's a 9-fold increase. So we did a similar study where we took our 470 cases and put that into a database in Denmark where we have all first and second degree relatives, and found the burden of diseases in these individuals. And what we find is a quite stunning high standard incidence rate, so that means how high is your risk compared to the general population, of 18 and 20-fold increase for ventricular arrhythmia and cardiomyopathy at the age before 35. Well, you could say, if we are sitting in our clinic and estimating whether a sudden unexpected case is cardiac or not, is there any way we could discriminate between those two. And we presented that just recently at the American Heart. And what we looked at then it was after autopsy of sudden unexpected death cases, 280 cases, and compared them to 750 cases of sudden cardiac death. And what we find of differences is that they tend to be younger, they tend to be more females, they tend to have less psychiatric disorders, less cardiac comorbidities in the sudden non-cardiac death, and also they tended to die more in hospital. What are the reasons for a sudden unexpected death? Well, in our series, what we found was pulmonary embolism, which is the major player in pulmonary disease, infection disease, so that's sepsis, and then cerebral hemorrhages are the three major players. Therefore, in Denmark, what we need to move on to help the families to prevent the death. So what we have tried to do in the Danish Society of Cardiology, as well as the Danish Society of Pathology and Forensic Medicine and Medical Genetics, what we are trying to propose to the politician, it seems that they are also willing to hear, is that everybody with the age below 50 and sudden unexpected death should be autopsied by law. And I hope this will come in the future. We are still working on that. As you know, politics takes time, and we've been working on that for the last 3 years. But I think it eventually will work. With that, I'd like to thank all the people who contributed, and with a picture of our new hospital, which is in the building process, I'd like to thank you.